So, welcome back to another episode of Web3 Insights, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of Web3, blockchain, and the innovators that are shaping the future. I'm your host, Aaron Hayhurst, and today we have a truly fascinating conversation lineup. Our guest is Rodrigo Esmela, the Chief Commercial and Product Officer at Arcual, a company that's basically revolutionizing the digital infrastructure of the art world. As we all know, the intersection of art and blockchain is creating unprecedented opportunities in the space, and Arcual is at the forefront of this transformation. Rodrigo brings a wealth of experience in commercial strategy and product development, and today we're going to explore how he's leveraging these expertise to build the next generation of digital tools for artists, galleries, and collectors. Going to be discussing everything from the challenges of bringing traditional art into a digital realm to innovative solutions that are making all of this possible. So whether you're an artist, a blockchain enthusiast, or just curious about the future of the art world, this episode's for you. So let's dive right in. Rodrigo, thank you very much for joining the episode today.
Thank you, Aaron, for having me. Happy to be here.
No, absolute pleasure. Rodrigo, I'm really keen to understand what your position is within the business and in terms of a bit more of an insight in terms of your role and responsibilities as the Chief Commercial and Product Officer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, a little bit of my background to cement how I got here. I am a software engineer. That's what I studied at university. I did that for a few years. And then I very
Nice.
quickly went into consulting and product management. And I've been doing that basically for almost 20 years now. And at Arcual, I started basically from the beginning when the company was founded. And the main aspects of my role are overseeing all of our product strategy and our commercial strategy. Right? So not only what are the things that we're building and how that connects to the ecosystem and our clients and the way that we see the industry evolving from a technological point of view, but also working very closely with the rest of the ecosystem, the other companies and developments and projects that we have in the space, and how we can also collaborate with them and find meaningful partnerships that will help push the industry forward from a technological standpoint.
Nice, fantastic. That's yeah, that's great to hear. It's great to hear as well that you've been there since pretty much the start. I didn't actually know that before we jumped on the call, so that's fantastic. Brilliant. So, I mean, in Web3, creating user-friendly products can be quite challenging due to, the complexity of the technology. How do you balance technical innovation with usability in your product development process?
It's a great question. And I think the key there is balance. Like you're asking, like, how do we balance that? And that's something that we've learned during the last 2.5 years as part of this journey. Especially at the beginning, we started with a very strong opinion, right, from an innovation point of view and from a technological point of view, how a lot of the blockchain technologies that were being developed and applied, for example, to NFTs and digital art, and how could that be translated to the fine art market and the traditional art market. And
Sure.
the result that we got from that was, let's say we were moving too fast, right? So the immediate reaction of the industry was, okay, there was a few innovators that were, very happy to push the limits and the boundaries with us, but the industry in general was kind of saying, hey guys, you're moving a little bit too fast, right? So we started learning that balance between pushing innovation, but also combining that with resolving the problems that the industry has today, right? And delivering that today value while pushing for that future value at the same time. And making sure that we were delivering the user experience and the usability that I'm going to say that was expected,
Sure,
but
yeah.
also that is needed, right? Especially when you're looking at pushing and transforming an industry that is at its core very traditional, very protective, very mindful about privacy, for example, right? Then the key is finding that balance, right, between pushing but also working side by side with your clients and partners and the industry in general.
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
No.
No, that sounds great. And I mean, how are you in terms of like giving the audience a better understanding for
No.
the full ins and outs of what the business does? And you mentioned there about um, the usability and user experience being sort of key. Um, can you maybe shed a bit more sort of insight on how that's sort of being done on a bit of a deeper level,
Yeah.
maybe? Because this is something that's been very key in conversation with a lot of people that I've spoken to at the moment. Two core areas are the user experience, but also user onboarding. And so what specifically more could you sort of elaborate on that?
Yeah. No. Basically, what we're doing is the approach that we take is to deliver our products with as simple as user experience as we possibly can, right? So it should feel as intuitive and as natural as possible. That's basically, the rule that we have. So the idea is every time we're looking at developing anything new or building, some sort of new solution or product or whatever that is, we do go to the market, we do our user research, we talk to our clients, partners, and also we do your more traditional interview user-based user research, survey-based user research to try to figure out what are the common behaviors or the expected behaviors that the users are looking for,
Sure.
and build the products from there. So in our platform and in our products, we do have a very strong, Web3 component and blockchains and smart contracts and tokenization for artworks and provenance and documentation. But on top of all of that, we're building a very traditional Web2 experience. So users have a very low barrier of entry and onboarding, like you were saying, right, to that platform and those products. So it's all about making the design and the interfaces feel natural and intuitive, right? And then
Yeah.
using that cutting edge technology and that innovation and that revolution basically underpinning it, and not necessarily just on the front. Because one of the issues that we did encounter also very early on, when you're talking about tokenization, when you're talking about self-custody of tokens, where you're talking about wallets, whether they're hot wallets, cold wallets, for a lot of us that have been in the space basically since the beginning, that feels now very natural, like kind of like your second language. But for the average, web user, a lot of those things are still very like foreign, right? And with that immediately comes a sense of I need to be careful, I need to be
Sure.
mindful. So a big part of the challenge is basically breaking that glass, that barrier of I need to watch out or I need to be careful. It's just okay. This is natural. This is intuitive. I understand it. I know what it's doing. So I'm just happy to proceed.
Nice. Okay, great. So with Web3's rapid pace of change then, um, how do you approach product roadmap planning and prioritization, and what trends or user needs are currently shaping your product strategy?
That's a great question. So there are a few different aspects, to the answer. Let's say
Yeah.
the roadmap side of things. This is a very fast-paced industry. We have new things coming pretty much every other week.
Absolutely.
So the more traditional aspect of road mapping, where you can do your 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or quarterly, or things that allows you to look sometimes 12 months into the future, 24 months into the future, it is very difficult to apply to our industry, and especially to this intersection of where we are working at Arcual. So
Sure.
we're taking a more of a lean approach, where we definitely know what we're doing for the next, let's say, 3 to 4 months. Very very detailed. We
Yeah.
have a very clear picture of everything that we're building and delivering. And as we progress, to the 6 month horizon and then to the 12-month horizon, the certainty starts to just to be lower.
For sure.
One example, when we started with Arcual, BTC ordinals were not a thing, right? So all of the NFT and all of the digital art was either Ethereum or Solana or Tesos or some of the other L1s or some of the L2 projects. But now, for example, a lot of the conversations that I've been having in the last couple of months that are related to digital art, that are related to NFTs, it's heavy on that blockchain, BTC ordinals. And if we would have planned a roadmap, I don't know, let's say 18 months ahead or 12 months ahead, that would have suffered, right? That would have been something that it would have been a lot more difficult to fit in. Whereas when you're looking at closer time horizon and then being more flexible in that 6 month ahead,
for sure,
that gives you, that gives us at least, the flexibility to adapt to the market changes and also to the user adoption, right? Because it could also be that there's a huge market change or a huge new thing that is being developed, but adoption is being slow, right? So that also gives you the possibility to react a little bit slower, or conversely, just react faster. And it's that approach to road mapping combined with a few of the things that I was mentioning earlier, right? So talking to the market, doing your user research, collaborating with your partners, and trying to find those interesting, let's say, intersections, that cross-cut that can give you a little bit more insight on not only things that are happening now, but some of the things that may be happening in 6 months or in 12 months. So a lot of the conversations that I'm having is also with partners, companies, artists, creators that are already thinking what they're going to be doing in 2025, right? And some of the things are mid 2025, some of the things are late 2025. So already from today's standpoint, we can have a sense of where the industry is going to be, in the next 12 months. So
that's
great. A combination of all of that.
Yeah, for sure. So you're then following those particular trends from those artists to then help sort of maneuver your product strategy. Are there any particular trends at the moment that you're seeing that are currently enhancing what you guys are doing now?
There are a couple, and I think the art industry, especially fine art and traditional art, has not been at that forefront of like digital transformation and innovation. But there has been a huge interest for the industry to basically transform and be transformed over the past, I would say, probably 4 or 5 years. Right, that's when really the heavy impact started, and now we're at that stage where there are a lot of things that have been tried, and the industry is far more mature in knowing what they want and what it works and what they don't want or it doesn't work. So we're seeing a couple of trends, which is one is related to what I was saying before. The digital art space has now matured, right? And especially also the NFT space after everything that happened with the bubble and all of the gazillion projects that were out there. Now, in a sense, the dust has settled, and artists, collectors, buyers, institutions, art fairs, everyone that is playing in the space has a very clear understanding of these are things that we want and these are things that we don't want. So looking at the more serious or the bigger ecosystems as the ones that are really driving that industry forward now, things like Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin with ordinals, and then you have the other side of that, right, which is bringing the sales to the collectors, right, bringing the art to the buyer, and how that happens. If you remember at the beginning, everything was very traditional e-commerce to a certain extent, like the NFT marketplaces were basically using the same concepts that we were using for purchasing anything else, right? You have a place, you could search, you could browse, you just bought it and you get out. And now the industry is developing their own, let's say, digital experiences for that, right? Where there's a combination of metaverse or virtual 3D spaces combined with things that may be traditional e-commerce, and then things that are basically a digital replica of how the art market behaves. Right? You still get that similar experience as what you would get going to an art fair or going to a gallery and meeting the artist in person, meeting your gallerist in person and developing a relationship, and then through that relationship, for example, building your collection or your art buying experience. And a lot of the things that we are working on, especially been working on this year, and we're going to keep working on that for the next foreseeable future, is around bringing that basically experience and digitizing and creating those digital experiences for everyone that is in the art buying, art trading, art creating business, whether it's creators or dealers or buyers.
Yeah, nice, fantastic. Another question I had is, I was just thinking of then, how is this market at the moment? Especially given the current state of, the NFT market, which has, of course, seen, significant fluctuations. How is this market in general, and how are you guys finding, navigating these challenges of this particular market while, continuing to build and innovate the digital sort of infrastructure for the art world?
Well, what we're seeing is I think the answer that I'm going to give you is not so much about how we are trying to solve the problem or navigate the market, because a lot of the things that we are doing is going side by side with what our partners or our clients are doing as well, right? So what we are definitely seeing is that there is a direction, right, let's say, that the market is taking on developing more, I'm going to use like established as a word, but I don't know if that's the right term, right? More established projects, that are basically backed by experienced, either artists or or names or institutions as well. So you see a lot of partnerships happening as well between art fairs and museums to keep pushing forward the digital art, but not so much as for example, in the space that I'm working on, right? Not so much as a collectible or some of the things like we had before with CryptoKitties or CryptoPunks, but more from a traditional art point of view, right? So you're gonna see very let's say renowned artists that are creating their hybrid pieces or purely digital pieces, and how that is conceptualized, whether it's a video or generative art or whatever is the medium that they're using, right? There is a lot more I would say thinking on how that is now being created, how is that being presented, and also delivered. So basically what we are doing is working with all of those industry participants, right, and creators to bring their artistic vision, right, let's say, in the way that they are envisioning it, right, and just using the technology, and whether that is it ends up being an ERC-721 token, or whether that ends up being some sort of like other token or other delivery method for the digital master file or the installation. So yeah, that's basically how we're looking at it. It's more we are a vehicle to deliver that artistic vision to a certain extent.
Nice. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So what's next for Arcual then? Are there any exciting developments or projects on the horizon that you can share with us in the audience?
Yeah, we have a lot of things coming up in the next few months. The biggest one that is happening next month is we're releasing a new version of our platform, which we have been alpha testing and beta testing since late last year. And this will bring now this layer of customizable digital experiences that I was just mentioning before for all of the on-market participants. So we started our alpha and our beta testing exclusively with art fairs, and now we have transformed that. So any artist, any gallery, any dealer, any collector, any art fair, anyone that wants to showcase their art can do that with the possibility to turn it into let's say an online sales component, but also with all of the tokenization features that we have available on our platform as well.
Nice, that's fantastic. That's it. Exciting news, and certainly exciting times ahead, and everyone's heard it here live, which is great. Brilliant. I mean, that wraps up our conversation with Rodrigo. Thanks so much for coming on today, Rodrigo. I really appreciate your time. I hope you found today's episode as enlightening as I did. Rodrigo gave us some incredible insights into how Web3 and blockchain are poised to transform the art world, and it's clear that Arcual are playing a pivotal role within this evolution, as you were sort of stating there, and definitely some exciting times ahead, which is great to hear. Brilliant. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to Web3 Insights on your favorite podcast platform, and follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more in-depth discussions with leaders in the Web3 revolution. Your support helps us bring, more valuable content to you. So don't forget to leave a review, share this episode with anyone who's passionate about the future of art and technology. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to having you with us in the next episode, where we'll be continuing to explore the cutting edge innovations that are reshaping our world. But until then, stay curious and keep exploring the world of Web3. And Rodrigo, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Aaron, for having me. Brilliant conversation. No, and everyone should subscribe.
Top man.